Growing up without consistent emotional love does more than create painful memories from childhood. It can influence how your brain develops and how you relate to others long into adulthood. If you didn't regularly receive warmth, affection, encouragement, or emotional validation when you were young, you may notice certain patterns still shaping your life today. Let's explore what developmental psychology tells us about this. Research shows that when children experience emotional neglect, inconsistency, or affection that feels conditional, they can develop what psychologists refer to as attachment wounds. These experiences don't simply disappear with age. They often shape self-image, relationship patterns, and emotional regulation in adulthood. Here are 5 common ways these early experiences can show up later in life. First, heightened alertness in relationships. If love felt unpredictable growing up, your nervous system may have learned to stay on guard. As an adult, this can look like constantly scanning for signs of rejection. You may overanalyze messages, tone shifts, or small changes in behavior. Even in stable relationships, you might brace yourself for distance or loss. This isn't about being irrational. It's a learned survival strategy that once helped you adapt to uncertainty. In attachment theory, this pattern is often associated with anxious attachment. Your brain tries to anticipate and prevent what once felt uncontrollable. Second, difficulty receiving love or praise. When someone offers a compliment or a genuine affection, you may feel uncomfortable rather than reassured. You might deflect, minimize, or question their sincerity. This often connects to what psychologists call negative core beliefs. If early experiences communicated even indirectly that you were not worthy of consistent care, your mind may have internalized that message. So when kindness shows up now, it conflicts with your internal narrative. The brain tends to reject information that contradicts deeply held beliefs. As a result, you may crave connection, but struggle to fully accept it when it's offered. Third, overachievement or chronic people-pleasing. If love once felt tied to performance, you may have learned that your value depends on what you do. As an adult, this can turn into perfectionism, constant productivity, or relentless helpfulness. You might believe that if you achieve enough, support enough people, or meet every expectation, you will finally feel secure and valued. But external validation rarely resolves internal insecurity. The drive to earn approval can become exhausting because it's rooted in a belief that love must be earned rather than freely given. Fourth, emotional numbness or disconnection. When expressing feelings didn't feel safe or supported, your brain may have adapted by turning the volume down on emotion. This protective mechanism can be incredibly effective in the short term. If you don't fully feel, you reduce the risk of being hurt. However, over time, this can lead to feeling detached from yourself and others. You may struggle to access deep joy or sadness. Relationships may feel distant, even when you care deeply. In psychological terms, this can relate to dissociation or emotional blunting. From the outside, you may appear calm or composed. Internally, though, you may feel disconnected from your own emotional landscape. Fifth, a persistent fear of being a burden. If your needs were often dismissed or treated as inconvenient, you may have learned to minimize yourself. As an adult, you might apologize frequently, hesitate to ask for help, or keep struggles private. You may push yourself to handle everything alone to avoid feeling like you're imposing on others. Over time, this pattern reinforces isolation. But having needs does not make someone a burden. Needs are part of being human. Healthy relationships involve mutual support, not silent self-sacrifice. Understanding these patterns is not about assigning blame. It's about recognizing how adaptable the human brain is. Children do not choose their environments, but they do adapt to survive within them. What once served as protection can later become a barrier to closeness and self-compassion. The encouraging news is that these patterns are not permanent traits. Neuroscience shows that the brain remains capable of change throughout life. This capacity, known as neuroplasticity, allows new relational experiences to reshape old beliefs. Developing secure connections, practicing emotional awareness, and sometimes working with a qualified mental health professional can gradually shift long-standing patterns. Healing often begins with awareness. When you notice yourself overanalyzing a message, deflecting a compliment, overworking to feel valued, numbing your emotions, or hiding your needs, you are not witnessing evidence of being flawed. You are observing learned strategies. And learned strategies can be unlearned or reshaped. Self-compassion plays a crucial role in this process. Instead of criticizing yourself for feeling anxious, distant, or overly driven, you can begin asking, what was this behavior protecting me from? This question reframes the narrative from deficiency to adaptation. Over time, building small experiences of safety, allowing yourself to receive kindness, expressing needs in manageable ways, and practicing emotional presence can help create new internal models of connection. Growth in this area is rarely instant. It is usually gradual and layered.
But each step toward awareness and healthier connection challenges the old belief that love is unpredictable, conditional, or unsafe. If you recognize yourself in any of these patterns, know that acknowledgement itself is meaningful. It signals readiness to understand your story more fully. Your early environment may have shaped certain tendencies, but it does not define your entire future. With insight, support, and intentional effort, new relational experiences can foster security, belonging, and self-worth. The effects of not feeling loved as a child can be long-lasting, but they are not irreversible. Understanding how the past influences the present is often the first step toward building a different future.